Doors opening and closing on their own? Voices from beyond? Let's take a rewind to the Cryptozoological and Paranormal Museum of Littleton, North Carolina. Welcome to Mystery Travels Rewind, where we revisit some of our past investigations and see them in a new light. My name is Carlos Miguel, and this time we are going back to the start of it all for Mystery Travels itself, which was the Cryptozoological and Paranormal Museum of Littleton, North Carolina. Right next door to Medoc State Park, which was the previous rewind. The Cryptozoological and Paranormal Museum of Littleton, North Carolina is an amazing location boasting many paranormal artifacts that are part of its display, and some of them might still have spirits attached. Aside from that, the house itself was built around the 1850s, which means that there is a high possibility of residual energy. During our time there, the first time that I went there actually, I did not go with the intention of gathering any type of evidence. I actually just went there to see a little bit more of the history of this area. And once I got to that location, I was very surprised as to just the sensation of entering that building, as if you could feel that there was a lot of energy in that building. Just in case, I am not a psychic at all. However, I do have a type of sensitivity when it comes to these things. It's like thinking like your gut feeling. Think of it something like that. And it's probable that it's mainly based on the fact of the amount of things that I was exposed to as a child growing up in a location that was very active with paranormal activity. Now, the museum itself was amazing. Like, just the amount of history within that museum was very interesting and exciting to be able to witness it. During the time that I was in the museum, we saw that the actual main door of the museum would open randomly throughout the time that we were there, and usually people that were part of the tour group would simply just close the door, because that was it's not a giant location, it's a very small location, so the door is just in plain view. We were a little bit confused as to why this was happening so frequently, and the owner of the museum, Stephen Barcelo, actually told us that in the museum there have been accounts of things moving around, doors opening and closing on their own, and I decided to test that out with the next time that I saw that the door was opened. Instead of anybody going up to the door and actually closing it, I told everybody to stay back, started recording, and I was okay, trying to communicate if something was there, if whatever was present, if they could close the door. And what followed was really unexpected.
Close it.
That's weird.
Boosted.
As you can see, the door closed fully, and you can actually hear how it latches shut, and also you hear the clanging of the bells. So basically what you can tell by this is that it was closed, I wouldn't say forcefully, but it was closed intently. Usually if it's a draft or anything based on wind or pressure in the area, it would probably hit it, but it won't close all the way. So the fact that it closed all the way and it was very evident on how it closed was pretty interesting. After it closed, I asked whatever was there if they could open it again, and somehow it happened.
Are you gonna open it again? Okay.
Thank you.
I was actually very impressed with the fact that it was doing this on command. At the moment that I asked it to close, it closed. At the moment that I asked it to open, it opened. It is definitely more compelling to see something respond to my questions rather than randomly opening and closing. The other thing that I do want to note is that there is a storm door in front of it, meaning that the possibility of wind interference is very low, as well as the fact that we did not feel a draft. And the force with how it closed would be enough for us to react to like a windy environment. If we actually felt a windy environment, I would not count this as anything probably paranormal. However, anything that we see, unless we can find a definitive reason that it is real, we will never say that it is 100% a ghost. So in this case, it is definitely compelling. I cannot 100% say that this was a ghost. I just was very intrigued. The other thing that we found in this little like visit to the Paranormal Museum was when I was actually recording simply B-roll. I wasn't doing anything investigative wise. I was simply recording B-roll of the museum, of the different little artifacts and pieces, just to put it with the final video, when I was panning over what is known as a Dybbuk box, which is essentially a box that possibly houses an entity, spirit, demon, whatever. When I passed over that, something weird happened. As you can see, as I was panning over that Dybbuk box area, I did hear it definitely was an EVP. The thing that I really want to point out is that even though I do know that while I was in the museum, there were TVs that were giving information about the museum and everything, I did take that into account. The fact that this audio actually kind of like overlaps with the audio coming from the television was the thing that stood out to me, as well as the fact that at that moment nobody was in the room with me, so I was the only person in the room. It was not myself. I know that it wasn't me breathing because of the fact that it only happened in that specific instance. If it was me breathing, it would have been a little bit more repetitive throughout the video. So it definitely stood out to me. Was weird to hear, especially since I really wasn't looking for any EVPs at that moment. I was just going through my footage and I was literally separating the audio and erasing it to put music over the audio. And at the moment that I heard that, I was like, wait a minute, what's this? The fact that you hear three separate what seem to be words is the thing that I really am concerned as to what it might have been saying. My leading thoughts is that it was either saying lock it back or take me back or put it back. Something around those lines, or words that sound similar to those ones. And the fact that we were going over the Dybbuk box kind of like matches that, kind of makes sense to be if it was something inside the box trying to communicate, get out, or maybe something that already got out and other spirits were kind of warning me about something. After my first initial visit to the Paranormal Museum, I returned with my friend Avery Little and we actually got some interesting evidence. This time we actually went there with equipment. We didn't get anything crazy, however, we did get something really cool on our spirit box sessions. Check them out.
We had a lot of information of shadow people in that doorway right there.
It's me?
Dude! You heard that!
I don't know what I just heard.
No,
Oops.
I don't know. I'll play it back.
As you can see, in this moment, we were actually asking questions about a shadow figure that had been seen previously in that doorway. As we were asking about the shadow figure, we can hear a very clear "it's me" coming from the spirit box. The thing that I also want to point out is the fact that during our time, I can actually show you the whole videos of our time that we were doing spirit box sessions. The spirit box had actually not said a single word before that. It was all just like either normal sounds or just radio noises that we could like filter out and say, yeah, this is not paranormal. However, those specific words that responded as I made that question was the thing that really surprised me. I was actually not expecting something like that to respond. And on top of that, we also had another one a little bit after that initial response. The second part, I do not know what it says. I really cannot make out what it says. So if you have an idea or if you have any opinion on what it might be, chime down below and let me know what you think. For me personally, I just feel that it was either any quick expression or maybe it wasn't even English. Like I said, there are a lot of artifacts in that museum that are from all over, so you do not know where those items might exactly be from, or you might not know what spirits are attached to those items. And maybe some of those spirits aren't necessarily English speakers. So those might actually be some different languages that we just didn't know what it said. Overall, the Cryptozoological and Paranormal Museum was an amazing experience, and again, the thing that really hyped me up was the fact that I did not go to this museum expecting any evidence. I literally went there as a guest, and then afterwards I went there with more intent on trying to communicate with whatever lies within that museum. It definitely was a fun time, and I really do want to return, do a more in-depth, more hardcore investigation of the location, maybe an overnight stay if they allow us. That would be simply amazing. So thank you so much for joining in. I hope you guys really enjoyed this. Again, one of the things that I do want to let you know within Mystery Travels is that we never go to a location thinking out of the box that it's haunted. On the contrary, we operate under the assumption that any location is not haunted until proven otherwise. So until we actually find evidence ourselves, we're not going to go there thinking it's haunted. We can see a lot of evidence beforehand. We can have evidence shared with us, and we will definitely look at that evidence with due diligence. However, until we find evidence for ourselves, we will never say, oh, this place is 100% haunted or not. I know that a lot of people have their discrepancies when it comes to haunted locations and ghost hunting shows, but the thing is that in our case, we are trying to just relay any information and relay any evidence that we might find. Whether you believe or not, that is definitely up to you. That's your decision at the end of the day. It's amazing to be able to visit these locations that have such rich history, everything that we can learn from these places. As always, don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and stay tuned for more Mystery Travels videos. For a little bit after this one, there will be a kind of hiatus as we contact locations to see if we're able to get these investigations rolling, but we already have a couple of locations in mind to investigate soon. So if you want to support us, you can definitely check out a lot of different means to support us. There is our Instagram page. You can have more information there. We have shirts for Mystery Travels. This is the Chupacabra shirt, one of my favorites, because I'm from Puerto Rico and that's where the Chupacabra is from. And also we do have a Patreon page. So basically I have a Patreon page that encompasses everything that I do, meaning it encompasses my cosplay side, my Mystery Travels side, and Dragon Force as well. So basically, if you support us on Patreon, you can see a bunch of cool content, and it's already divided within Patreon itself, so you can pick what you want to follow. Thank you so much for everything. Again, I am really enthusiastic to keep on sharing my travels with all of you, and also with my new team that is forming, and we are really excited to get back out there. So stay tuned and we'll see where our travels take us to next. The cool Mystery Travels Convict line, we have the Mystery Travels Convict Mothman, which is also hint another thing that we want to investigate soon, especially since the Mothman Museum is actually pretty close to where we live. So